Welcome to Waiting on the Trade, a monthly comics book club for people who can't keep up with monthly comics. I'm Matt Ledger.
I'm Patrick Fitzgerald Fleck.
And I'm Simon Payne.
This month, we're talking about Green Lantern Circle of Fire, a 2000s-ass DC comic by writer Brian K Vaughan and a whole mess of other people. So in case y'all need a refresher, because Simon definitely didn't just finish reading this 10 minutes ago. Circle of Fire is a story in which Kyle Rayner becomes his own worst enemy and finally proves himself worthy of being a Green Lantern in the eyes of people he's been saving for literal years. It also features all your DC B-list faves, including the Atom, Power Girl, Adam Strange, and Firestorm.
Who the hell is Firestorm?
Let's get all the chemistry-based Atom people together and go nuts.
Do you think that's actually what happened? Is they were like, okay, I want Adam Strange. You mean the Atom? No, not the Atom. Well, maybe the Atom. I guess we could do some chemistry stuff. Firestorm? Oh, okay.
What is with DC and
crazy element powers that don't actually make sense? Do you guys see that panel where Firestorm made a fan in this comic? Just like a literal fan.
And
yes!
then like a beanbag whoopee cushion thing to save somebody too.
I'm so confused. So, okay.
He doesn't know enough to make, to mix
Sodium?
two elements to make an explosion, but he can make an actual fan.
What are his powers exactly? I'm so confused.
You know, Pat, been reading these comics for decades now. I honestly couldn't tell you. It's like element transmutation powers, but I don't know how that lets you make a literal giant fan.
It's like, wait, is he a Green Lantern that can literally make the things and not fake them? That's crazy.
Yes, actually, which is why the fact that he's a teenager who knows nothing is really scary sometimes.
Right? Holy God.
All right, so backing up a second.
Sorry, yes, okay.
Simon, do you want to introduce yourself to our listening audience?
My name is Simon Payne. I've known Pat since middle school, and I don't remember exactly when I met you, Matt.
It would have been high school sometime, yeah.
Yeah, no, we've been friends for a while and always involved in nerdy things, whether it's magic or board games or comics or whatever.
Where would you say you got started with comics, Simon? Where'd you start off?
Well, I was trying to figure, because I know some of the oldest comics I have, but it's not like I picked up those and immediately got into comics. I think it was something that, because I was looking in my room a couple of years ago at my mom's house, and there's old Sonic the Hedgehog comics and an old, what was the team with Ghost Rider and Hulk and...
Oh, you know what? It's probably the new Fantastic Four, if it's Ghost Rider and Hulk. Was Hulk gray?
Ghost Rider was in the Fantastic Four?
Yeah, it was a weird team up of a couple different things. But I have these single issues that I think my parents got for me, if we were going on a trip or going on an airplane. It was just something to buy at...
Keep you quiet in the backseat kind of stuff. Yeah.
So there's, Sonic and a couple other people's. And I've liked superheroes and comic characters for a long time, but I was never much of a buy single issues, read them consistently. Very much in your wheelhouse of the buy the trade once the whole arc is finished so that I can read it in a couple sittings. So
that's right. Who needs those advertisements? Not me.
So how did you come across this particular story? Because when we were getting ready to read and record this month, I had a lot of trouble actually tracking down this story until literally before we started. I figured out you can buy it digitally through a weird Brian K Vaughan collection.
Oh. No, yeah, I have a couple of trades from when I was a kid, and this is one of them, and this is one that I don't remember how I got. I assume I got it as a gift, but I don't remember buying it. I have my name written on the inside cover, but it doesn't say a year or anything like that
Sure.
I would or a reason. There's no inscription from my grandma or anything like that. So.
Yeah, it's just showed up basically.
And it was always just among the books that I had, and I've read it a couple of times over the years, and I'd say Green Lantern and Spider-Man were always my top two favorite superheroes as a kid, so it would make sense that I would have Green Lantern trade, but I don't know. I didn't specifically pick this as a child that I wanted, and it's the only major Green Lantern one I had from that time, so
Sure.
I thought it's kind of a nostalgic trip for me for this episode.
It's interesting that you say Green Lantern and Spider-Man, because like this version of Green Lantern is essentially Spider-Man.
Right.
Kyle Rayner. Yeah.
Yeah, Kyle Rayner, my boy. I remember seeing ads for this book in the back of comics I was reading at the time. Like I know I saw like the little, it's like a thumbnail of the cover and then a little blurb of like what the issue is about, like on the last page of DC Comics. So I think that would have been in like Nightwing or JLA probably at that point. Maybe random Batman stuff. But I was trying to remember like what comics I was reading regularly enough that I would have seen this at that point. I think it would have been like a Nightwing or a JLA sort of deal. And it looked interesting then. I can particularly remember seeing like the cover for the second bookend with Kyle Rayner just like surrounded by other Green Lanterns and fire, and like I was actually kind of interested in that.
Yeah, I mean it's hard not to like a superhero team up, especially in Kyle's timeline where like the core doesn't exist anymore. So
Well, that was the cool bit, is I kind of thought when I was a kid that this was them bringing the Green Lantern core back,
Forming them again, yeah.
which hadn't been a thing, since like God 96 or something. I don't know. We're gonna get into Hal Jordan's fall from grace and what it did to the internet at some point.
Reading this, I know nothing when it comes to Green. I thought I knew some things. I know nothing.
Pat, can I tell you I'm really excited to explain to you why Power Girl's an Atlantean?
Yeah, there's so many things in this comic. It's like, yeah, okay, and they just kept reading. It's like, oh boy.
It just kept flipping through stuff and being like, Pat's not gonna get this at all.
Yeah, I like I said with the single issue things, I'm very much a like wide swaths of comic knowledge person, not like I remember specific moments of this continuity from this issue kind of person. So it's like just kind of the general feelings of how things were going at this time period. Like I was going to ask about Power Girl too, because I was going to dive into her backstory. I was like, I don't remember if she's an Atlantean or Kryptonian or what. What?
1,500 years ago, Simon, she was born in the seas of Atlantis. So I don't know.
Except maybe not. All right, so I think this is the part, Simon, where Pat and I kind of like gauge your temperature about how you're feeling about the book, having just reread it. Like, what are your thoughts? What are your feelings? What are your emotions?
I didn't pick this because it's some kind of like masterpiece classic.
Thank God, Simon.
I have like Watchmen and Kingdom Come and other trades that I could have picked, but like I wanted this for pure like late 90s, early 2000s. Like, yeah, let's make a superhero team up comic book, and just if you meet it at its own like tone and setting, it's enjoyable, but you're not gonna like, this isn't some kind of literary award-winning thing.
Sure. Yeah.
So
no, there are definitely like bits of it I like and bits of it that I don't like as much. And like I think overall I'm glad we read it because it was still cool, but like I don't know. So I think this is where I want to start. Which was your guys' favorite issue on this read? Because I think I have a definitive favorite.
I'll go first. Hands down, issue number 4 with Adam Strange and Green Lightning.
Okay.
Was my favorite.
All right, Simon.
My gut reaction is I think it's 5 with Alex and Kyle. Is that the one I'm thinking of? Is it 5?
I think it's 6.
Or 6.
6, yeah. Because I think 5 is the Firestorm one that like both times I was reading it is where I kind of fell off, honestly.
Yes, yeah. Firestorm and the Manhunter Android. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. It's kind of a slower start, but I just like the character interaction of those two. I think I appreciate it more as an adult than I did as a kid.
Yeah, I was actually like between those two, and I think I would come down on the Adam Strange one as being my favorite, but I do like that they're the most relevant character stuff is happening in that Kyle issue where he actually gets to like talk to Alex. But I really do dig that art through the Adam Strange issue. It's really good.
The lighting and stuff on his face when he's like downtrodden about letting his planet down and everything.
Who is Adam Strange?
He's kind of like a Buck Rogers kind of character, right?
Yeah.
Like a retro adventurer in space kind of person.
Like he gets pulled through the cosmos just randomly, and he just made that into his superpower.
Well, he has no superpowers. That's part of the charm.
He's got a jetpack that he can shoot into cat dragons' mouths and blow them up, and it's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I felt bad for that cat dragon.
So, Pat, like, which thing were you most like lost by, I guess, in the comic.
Oh, most lost by?
Yeah, which was the thing where you were like, I just don't understand.
I mean, the whole like Arthurian knight who's half Superman was a little weird. This comic in general, can I say that? Is that too wide? Okay.
No, I think that's so like that. So part of the reason I ask is like I was thinking last night about the structure of the whole book and how it even comes together as a story, right? Because like the main story is Kyle Rayner has a bad day, fixes it, and grows up, right? Like sort of. Like also he gets to deal with the emotional trauma from having watched his girlfriend be stuffed into a refrigerator, which is a whole thing we'll probably end up talking about.
Yeah. I knew of that going into it, but
yeah, we've talked about fridging before. I'm not sure if it was on this podcast or Battlestar Bros.
It definitely came up in Battlestar. But no, I think my answer is the power of the Green Lantern ring is the most confusing thing for me.
So Kyle's Green Lantern ring can do like literally anything.
Like, holy God, don't have an errant bad thought ever because you're going to destroy the universe. Just don't wear the ring. It's not worth it.
So can I tell you guys why I saw the quote unquote twist of this one coming like a mile away? The fact that like Kyle was the bad guy the whole time, basically.
It's pretty tropey, so it's not.
I mean, there is that, right?
find.
But like, there's also a JLA story, which probably came out like right after this, where Batman basically like has all the weaknesses of the JLA cataloged, and then Ra's al Ghul steals them and then uses them to beat the JLA. And Batman's plan for Green Lantern is basically to hypnotize him into thinking he's blind, and the ring will then convince him he's blind because his subconscious is convinced he's blind.
That's so crazy.
Right? So like, Kyle could do anything.
I'm terrified of Green Lanterns now. Like,
you thought Firestorm was bad.
Holy God.
I think that's something that like drew me to Green Lantern as a kid, is that like his willpower is his weapon. So like putting any amount of determination into what you want to do is what fuels his power. And so then, like his power limit is near limitless if he wants it bad enough. And so that's also his weakness, from creating oblivion from all of the bad parts of his psyche. But that kind of aspirational, like, I'm really bad at making decisions in general, and so having someone that like their whole life is making decisions, like that's their superpower, I think that was kind of cool. I mean, obviously there's repercussions for that.
Why isn't there like why are the Guardians of Oa not just saying, holy shit, guys, we need to have everyone in therapy constantly? Like,
I think that actually is a thing that comes up.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Don't quote me on that because I don't think I've read that, but I feel like I've seen that somewhere.
To be fair, they did try it with robots first, and it didn't work.
It didn't work out.
This ring is Hal Jordan's ring, right?
No, actually.
It's not. Okay.
It's like a special ring that the Guardians had in reserve, basically or I think made afterwards, but basically as Hal destroyed the core, they had this one ring left that they put all the rest of the power into, and that's Kyle's ring.
Oh, he has all the power of the entire
like central battery, basically.
Oh, okay.
Which kind of explains how he can make just like a cosmic level villain and not even know.
Yeah, I guess. That's so much power to give a comic book illustrator. I don't understand.
It is so very comic books too, to like have your emotion, like the dark side of your emotions, literally personified as a cosmic villain too, right? Like,
right?
DC Comics bullshit right there.
This whole trade is really tropey, and it's kind of tongue in cheek about it too, because like obviously Oblivion's dialogue, and even Kyle points it out at one point, is super like melodramatic and like over the top.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like a little self-aware, but not enough to be like full meta like parody of it,
Sure.
So it's in this like weird uncanny valley of tone.
So I actually like really like the Kyle story here, even if it is a little obvious and tropey. Like, it's a good Kyle story. My issues from it come like with the actual story come from like, how does that then expand to include the Atom and Power Girl and Adam Strange? Like, and you can kind of see that fall apart, I think, in the second bookend, where Kyle goes off to fight the big bad and they have to think up something for the other four heroes to do, basically.
Yeah. As for why there are a bunch of like B-list characters in the arc, I think that he kind of points it out when he's figuring out who each of the lanterns is as part of his personality. I don't know what order the writer figured it out, if he was gonna like make the lanterns first or find the available DC Comics heroes, but like matching up either similar or like clashing personalities based on that trait. So you had like Adam Strange and Green Lightning being like part of two worlds and not feeling like they fit in either. Or you had like the opposites of like intellect versus instinct in Firestorm and the hunter killer or whatever robot.
The Manhunter, yeah.
Manhunter robot. So I don't know how that was planned, but it seems there's a little bit of like these weird stop gaps where like the story is going kind of smoothly and you're like kind of like, oh no, they had to force that moment to happen, and then it goes smoothly again.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. It's just like I was telling Pat yesterday, I tried to find like an interview or something with anyone where they talked about this story, because I just like, who decided this was a story that was going to get made, and like how did it come together like this? Was it like Brian K Vaughan had a good Green Lantern story he wanted to tell, and they were like, well, we've got these other characters we're trying to hype up, throw them in there. I don't know. It's weird. It's also weird that it like almost like sideways approaches the emotional spectrum stuff that Jeff Johns is going to do later. Like it comes real close, right? It like inches up to it with all those 5 different lanterns that are.
I was going to mention that in the like recommended reading section later, that like Blackest Night is kind of a spin-off of this, so, or like a similar concept to this. So
yeah,
I feel like we're all going to recommend that at the end. Because
I mean, we're probably all good. Yeah, I was trying to think of other Kyle specific stories too, but we'll get there when we get there. My other issue with the story aspect of it is this is a story all about Kyle. Well, it's not all about. There, like one thing I really like, because I haven't actually seen it in a story before, is like Kyle just straight up dealing with the trauma that would be associated with like what happened to him when he became Green Lantern, which is the woman he was going to propose to was murdered by a villain, like, and like very grotesquely.
Yeah.
But then the other part is like him proving himself to the JLA, and that to me was super weird and bullshit, especially because at that point he'd been doing this for at least 4 years real time, and like Batman's like, as far as I'm concerned, you finally belong here, and like he saved Batman's ass like 25 times at that point.
Asshole.
I love how Batman just ghosts out of there too. Like,
that's super weird. I wonder if it was just like the Bat editorial team was like, no, you can't have that guy in this book this month.
They're like, yeah, there's like this big cosmic event. There's possibly like a world-ending thing, and Batman's like, yeah, I'm gonna go like fight Two-Face now. So see ya.
Which is also kind of weird because the artist on the first book, Norm Breyfogle, is like a super known Batman artist too. So like when you see his Batman, you're like, oh yeah. If you've like read any of his Batman stuff before, and he gets 4 panels basically with him,
and then he says something like really angsty, like the angst is so much that like the word bubble is like
dripping.
Yeah. It's like no or something like that, and just walks away.
Yeah.
It's like I think Green Lantern's asking if they could like buddy up and ride together or whatever, and Batman's just like having none of it.
Which to me, my like weird no prize solution for Batman not wanting to be part of this is he knows exactly what's going on from the start, and he doesn't want to clue Kyle in on the weakness that he found that he uses later. That's my no prize solution for Batman not being in this story. I think that kind of leads into like the art's really up and down throughout this miniseries, I guess, right? Like Breyfogle's stuff is good, but even those pages, it depends on which inker is on him, honestly.
Issue 2.
Yeah, it's like a completely different. It's so jarring. I forgot how different the art style was from the first to the second issue.
That is the like most confused I've been reading a comic in a long time.
Yeah, it just, I don't know, it doesn't flow, and it's like a little bit too cartoony in their panels where like there's specifically a panel I remember of like the Atom saying something that sounds like completely reasonable if you just read the word balloon, but in the panel he like looks like he's screaming.
It's like way too loose. It's way like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, which I think is fine as a style, but then like again, there are pages where I just completely lose where my eye is supposed to go and stuff, and like which panel quote unquote, because there aren't really panels in this. Then in that issue, it's all pretty freeform.
Yeah, and it doesn't help like the Atom is like perspectives like shift and you're not quite sure where you're looking. And yeah, but I mean, to give this issue its due, we did see Joe from Little Women beat up a supervillain. So
The Little Women gag is pretty good.
Yeah. Because all of her constructs are from literature, and all of his are from art. So
Yeah, and Dr. Psycho has like a particular thing about being basically a misogynist and an ass in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So getting beat up by Little Women is pretty good.
I like the design for Oblivion as well. Like even if it is like the most stereotypical, like, you know, cosmic event and like Doom video game villain, I think the artwork on like his cloak that is like the cosmos and stuff looks pretty neat.
Yeah, and his face is always really cool too. Like the weird like scrunch effect on his eyes and like the inking there, and like the horns are cool. He's pretty cool. I have in my notes written here like Oblivion's actual overall look might be the best thing about this comic. Like, and that's across multiple artists too. Like there's a lot of good stuff with him in the first bookend, and then I think honestly before there's a weird like halfway point in bookend 2 where it feels to me like the art starts getting a little weird and looser, but throughout it like the coloring and the inking is pretty good, and like Oblivion is all colors and inks mostly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we can't skip over in issue 1 the blatant like ribbing at Marvel with
the
Summer Soldier and the Sunshine Patriot. And Kal Rayner saying, "Oh, this is garbage. I can't believe I'm doing this."
Oh, I totally forgot when until rereading this that Jon Stewart's in this.
Yeah,
it's just
he's
like
helping ink a few pages,
just randomly there. It's just like, oh yeah, former Green Lantern.
He was an architect, right?
Yep.
So he's helping with some building.
Yeah, like the background
skyscraper
building shots.
And I think this might even be before he's retconned into being a Marine too. So like architect is one of his primary character traits at that point.
So it's Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart, then Kal Rayner?
It's what's his face from the 80s?
Guy Gardner. Yeah.
Oh, the guy with the leather jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the bowl
red
cut.
head.
Yeah. But yeah, at this point, Kyle's like the only one, which is why it's a big deal that 5 other Green Lanterns show up, and then it turns out that they're all kind of like from the past or future or like an alternate universe, which I think of those 5 lanterns, making Alex DeWitt one of them is probably the coolest choice. Although I did really like Green Lightning.
I was really into the Arthurian Knight until he turned into Superman Light. Like,
yeah,
if he had just been a dude from the Dark Ages who was selected to patrol space, that would have been amazing. But no, he's like an alien who was chosen to patrol our sector.
Yeah, it was like a bit much. And like the reasoning for it is kind of cool though, in that Kyle was reading about Daxamites earlier, and so like he subconsciously makes this guy into a Daxamite.
I guess. I'm just going to say now, the ending I did not like at all. The fact that it was just a dream. Boo.
Okay, so I think there is something to it, because like even if it was quote unquote just a dream, like Kyle's confronting these deep-seated feelings that have been there since he started becoming a superhero, and like it's the primary trauma of his life at this point, I guess. Well, maybe it's not actually. He had parent issues, as you kind of saw at the end also.
Yeah, he was ready to blame his dad for everything.
But like the fact that the Green Lantern ring can literally expel his emotions and turn them into a supervillain that he ends up punching is pretty cool though.
I feel like that's a bridge too far. Like I would have been ready. I was ready to accept the whole like future, past, ultra-dimensional lanterns coming to his aid.
That I'll give you. The fact that we spend so much time with each of these people and then they disappear into nothingness is just to me.
Like, they give Green Lightning a chance to say, "Wait, no, I'm as alive as you are. Why do you get to live and I don't?" But then, like 2 panels later, it's like, "Okay, yeah, no, it's fine."
Yeah, which I think I wouldn't have even bothered with if you're going to dismiss it that quickly.
Right?
Like, you're not going to spend the proper amount of time with it. You should just be like, "Oh, okay, we all get it," and then they go.
These are all literal sentient people. This is sort of murder in some way.
Kind of, they are.
It's the old
whole Tuvix
complex.
question.
Yes.
Great, guys. Now I got to put Tuvix in the show notes.
Yes, well, we did it.
It's a little bit different to me in that they are all actual manifestations of Kyle, and they're gonna kill him. And if they kill him, they'll all die too. So like they have to go, right?
Yeah.
I guess.
Does that mean he can bring them back at will now?
Right.
I mean, if
Do
he
they
only
age?
sustains one at a time, maybe. I don't
Like, you
assume
don't-
they don't age if they're just like like manifestations of his will. It's however he chooses to. He could age them, I guess.
It's like just like bring back Green Lightning and like maybe your dead fiance, whatever.
I don't think that's healthy.
No, well, probably not. No.
Let's go on a date with this person who doesn't exist anymore, except for in my mind.
I'm gonna be honest. My notes for issue 6 is Fridge Boy and Fridge Girl go on a date.
Hooray, we're terrible people. But Pat, did you like the metaphor of the fact that they're navigating through an unstable place as they talk about their relationship? Because I loved it.
I wasn't a big fan of that issue. Like I understood what they're going for, and like it was sort of cool to see him like work through his loss. I have no dogs in that race though. I don't really care for Kyle Rayner. I'm going to be honest. Hal Jordan's my Green Lantern. So
Oh, Pat, are you a member of Heat?
Heat?
Yeah. Hal's Emerald Advancement Team?
Sure, I'll say yes. Why not?
Pat, you've activated my trap card. So there's a bit in that Green Lantern issue, the Kyle and Alex one, where they're talking about like, man, the internet sure won't leave us alone about being Green Lantern now.
Yes.
And that's a whole big reference to like an entire movement of fans, which was like just when the internet was starting, they started like taking up on message boards to like petition for Hal Jordan back. And like they wrote like dedicated like letter petitions and stuff. And they took out, I think, I have a link for this because I was down this rabbit hole yesterday because I wanted to be able to talk about it.
Sweet.
But they took out either like a full page ad or like a half page ad in Wizard magazine, which was a big deal at the time. Like it was the thing that people read to get comics news and like learn what was going on in comics. And like they took out a half page ad basically petitioning for DC to bring Hal Jordan back. And like they got a little unruly and angry, I believe, and like did things they shouldn't have. Also, they were like potentially one of the first like internet fan groups to do things they shouldn't. And we've all seen how that trend has evolved.
I probably would have been one of them. I'm sorry. It's probably true.
No, you wouldn't have.
Not to that extent, but Kyle Rayner is okay, but his visor is stupid.
Hey, there's a jab in that episode. It's like the visor's a bit much.
His visor is great in your
No, it's awful.
As a kid, I loved it. Like it looked cool. And the hair like sweeping around the sides of it and stuff. Yeah.
The way it's drawn in the first issue is hilarious, where it's just his mouth at the bottom. He looks like a tiki mask. It's so weird.
Okay, now I gotta go look at it again in the first issue. Hang on. I'm pulling it up on my completely legal comics website that I found this on. That
That's
Pat
right.
found this on.
Like there are a few like shocked faces, where it's just like his open mouth with his tiki mask face.
Norm Brayfogle does draw a heck of a firestorm, though, is what I'm seeing as I'm paging towards
It's
Kyle's
very
mask.
true, yeah. Like
Oh,
he
yeah.
makes it
Oh,
his
yeah,
upper
I'm
lip
seeing-
is like
yeah,
the
I'm
top of
seeing
the
it.
mask. It's
Mhm.
just
It's a bit too
weird.
big there.
Yeah.
It is very hard to draw, and like it's easy to get wrong. I'll give you that. But when it looks cool, it looks cool.
Looking back on it now, like I said, nostalgia is the whole thing for me for this. He kind of looks like a Bionicle mask from
Yes.
Lego.
Yeah.
Like that's that kind of design that it's like almost primal, almost very jagged, and yeah.
I think mostly people call it like his crab mask.
It's a choice, and someone made it. So it looks better in like issue 6. I will give it that. But still,
There are times in issue 6 where it looks dumb too, actually, because I was actually about to write in my notes last night, oh, the mask looks really cool in this issue. And then I got a couple pages further and it's like, they kind of screwed it up though.
It's
So,
a
like,
little
it's
softer
easy to get
around the
wrong.
edges.
Yeah.
You know, just maybe don't do it then. You know, just do
I mean,
mask.
they got rid of it for a while and then the fans demanded it back. It's
those
back
fickle
now.
fans. Those fickle fans.
Kyle's Emerald Mask request team. Comert.
What were they looking for in issue 6, other than going through a tunnel and then bugs show up and then they blast out of the tunnel?
They were trying to find Oblivion.
Oh, that's right. There was a bomb.
Which is at least better than we're going to scan the entire universe for this weapon that may or may not exist.
That Kyle Rayner himself said, I made this up. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. Should we go issue by issue? Because we tried for a second there, then we dovetailed off again.
Sorry.
So I think we've done a good job of covering the like Atom Teen Lanterns issue. Yeah. Although the Atom's like weird hypotheses about who would have done this and why make
such random supervillains.
Logical jumps real fast there.
It's like the Scarecrow.
Maybe it's an illusion.
Those people said they were scared when they saw him, so it must all be the Scarecrow. Come on.
Oh, actually, we need to touch on quickly the fact that like I can't see Dr. Light in a comic anymore without just like cringing.
Dr. Light's the last one who made...
Yeah, the one who's like in the battery. Have either of you read an Identity Crisis?
No, sir.
Okay, Simon?
Is that the one with the Atom and stuff and they think somebody killed his wife or something?
It's the one with Elongated Man and the Atom's wife killed his wife.
Yeah, I have, but not recently. I don't remember much from it.
Like, I can't see Dr. Light without cringing because of the stuff that he's shown to have done in that comic.
Oh.
Which is like this is grown-up comics for grown-up people comics, which is, it goes to places you don't want it to go.
Oh.
And then, like, he says something about this is inhumane, and that just made me, like, walk away from the computer for a second based on the things he has done. So, like, Dr. Light, don't like seeing him in comics. And in the same issue, the Atom shrunk and went inside Dr. Ivo's brain, and that's a thing that happens in Identity Crisis to bad effect also. So like that issue's kind of, if it was good, it's kind of ruined by Identity Crisis anyways.
I think the Scarecrow fits his style really well, that kind of like gnarly look and everything. It's just the heroes that look really
I was gonna say I actually kind of like his Dr. Ivo too in like a weird way. Like I think that's the
troglodyte Ivo.
Yeah, kind of. So yeah, maybe it's just like at that time he was more suited to draw monsters and villains and things than superhero things. All right, should we talk about the Power Girl issue that like makes the choice to have her fight a tentacle monster and have a full page splash of her just like being attacked by tentacles?
That choice was made, yes.
Oh gosh.
After establishing that she had to go back down to Atlantis to get a costume change.
They didn't want
for a second time? Because didn't she like costume change before she went to go help Kyle?
I think she was in the Watchtower still, because she was a Justice Leaguer at some point. So
she was in the Watchtower?
Just, like, has a room or something.
Because it said like deep down below the surface.
Oh, that's the title of the issue, Pat.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
My bad.
No, it's okay.
All right, okay. She's in the Watchtower. But still, she's making a second costume change
which is not even really a costume change, right?
It's
she's
just so
like
she can go out sort of like into space.
Weird clear layer of
she's
something.
Putting saran wrap on herself so that she can breathe.
Bizarre.
But yeah, and then we got Night Dude, who I thought would be awesome if he actually was a medieval dude, but he's not. He's an alien.
I like his red hair.
He is very Arthurian, yeah. So like the concept is that like he lived with medieval Earthlings. That's why his constructs are all of that time.
Yeah. He's supposed to be like their guardian, and to fit in, he did more of the knight stuff.
He was like, "Oh, hey, they understand knights. I'll just be a knight." Because like there's no such thing as superheroes. So like, what do you be? You be a knight.
I still maintain actually having an Arthurian knight be a Green Lantern.
It would be cooler. And now you've got me thinking about like, how is this space alien who doesn't even live in this sector the Green Lantern of this sector? So like, it's starting to break down for me even more. You're killing it, Pat.
Tie it into the actual like Arthurian like story. Like, I don't know, like Lancelot when he went against and like had an affair with Guinevere, like he went off and then pledged himself to, I don't know, something could have been done.
No,
but it doesn't matter because it's Kyle Rayner's imagination to end with, so it's fine. Whatever. Kyle, I'm disappointed. You could have done better.
Like, I actually like Pete Wood's art in this issue, like a decent amount. I really like the flashback page where he's like shown doing King Arthur things, and like it looks like fighting parademons in King Arthur times, which like
is that what they were? That was cool.
They kind of look like parademons, so I'm gonna just retcon it if they're not.
And the fact that she needs assistance like right away with it too, it's just like, what, Power Girl? I thought you were just saying things about not needing the sun to be strong. Or is that
They're
afterwards?
literally underwater, right? Like, if she's an Atlantean at this point, she should...
Right.
like,
if it's a creature of the sea, shouldn't she be able to, like...
Telepathy it. Oh, you want to talk
man.
about that now? How she's an Atlantean and like a sun recharging person?
Yeah,
but
here we go,
not.
guys. So Power Girl was the Supergirl of Earth 2.
Okay, that's why she's
During-
all pissed about being called Supergirl.
Yeah. Until, like, she's from the Justice Society with that old Green Lantern we were talking about, Pat, the one who, like, found a lantern and therefore became Green Lantern.
Oh, okay.
Good old Alan Scott. Like, that's her Earth 2.
Oh, all right.
Which is Earth 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yep. So then Crisis happens, and they're like, well, everyone likes Power Girl, but we have a Supergirl in this world. So, like, what do we do with Power Girl? How does she fit in? I don't remember the exact mechanics of how this works, but eventually they're like, oh, she's not a Kryptonian, she's an Atlantean, and she's got, like, weird magic powers or something. So we're in the time right now where she is no longer a Kryptonian, she is an Atlantean, and then eventually by 2006 or 7 or something, she's going to be Kryptonian again, and then Earth 2 is going to come back. So, like, there's no point overall.
When does she get her cleavage ventilation window?
Oh, I mean, I think she's had it in the past at this point. And then, like, the gold and white costume is from, like, when she was on the Justice League during Justice League Europe, which she had a costume before that was, like, full 80s. She had a headband and stuff.
Oh, dang. All right.
But I believe the boob window, as it is termed, has already happened and will happen again.
This has all happened before.
At this point. Which, like, you don't need a boob window. It's not like they're not drawing those things anyways. Like, I'm looking at this page and, like...
I swear to God, there's a scene in the later issues where she's just wearing gold, and I thought she was nude.
I did too, because that artist did not put any of the, like, white elements of the suit on there, and it's much more skin-colored than...
It's very
yellow.
close to a skin tone. It's like...
Yeah.
What? Oh, no.
Like, what are you doing? Okay, well, no, it's not that, but it's still bad. And, like, we're gonna get to this one. Like, the weirdest thing is, like, Power Girl's boobs aren't the biggest boobs in this set of comics.
Oh God, we'll get to it when we talk about Firestorm and the Manhunter.
Yep, you know.
But, like,
I'm glad you knew.
Oh God,
2000s comics have some growing up to do still.
yeah. Like the fact that Wonder Woman going back to issue 1, Wonder Woman is the one that says, boys, I want to try diplomacy first.
Right.
Okay, but that's actually pretty good Wonder Woman stuff, honestly.
No, it's great, but then it's like, no, diplomacy doesn't work. Let the boys punch it out. It's like, come on.
Yeah, a little bit. But I mean, like, Wonder Woman would be the one who's going to try to talk it down.
But why isn't Superman, like, right there with her?
Right.
Like, all the guys are like, let's fight. Let's
He's
do
just
this
a farm
thing.
boy. Diana's like a UN recognized diplomat, man.
All right, sure. Why not?
Can we talk about how pointless the Power Girl issue is? Like, it might be the most pointless one besides the Firestorm one.
It was odd. It was like, we found the JLA. They're still alive.
And we're going to leave them here because...
These natives
reasons?
have been, like...
Traumatized by Oblivion.
Yeah, have been, like, coerced by Oblivion to keep them prisoner. And the weirdest justification was, if we free them, then Oblivion will punish the natives. But if they free the JLA, they can just defeat Oblivion. And
you
then
would
he
think, right?
won't
She gives, like,
punish them.
3 different reasons, none of which make any sense. First, she's like, they're protecting the League. No, they're not. They're not doing that. Then, like, she gives, like, oh, Oblivion's actually scared of us. We don't need the League.
Yes.
Which is, why wouldn't you can have both?
Don't you get it?
Just
The
leave them
League
there.
isn't Oblivion's problem. We are.
We are.
What?
So let's just leave them here. And then she gives the one that you were talking about, Simon, which is like, oh, if we free them, he's going to come back and kill all these aliens, which, like, I'm sure he's just going to leave them alive, I guess, anyways, if you don't free the League or not, because he's a cosmic villain, so who knows, really?
Right.
I guess if you look at the results of this issue, it's the least, like, it's the most wasted.
No. Oh, I guess wasted. Okay. It's like, if you say it like it makes sense, which is how I thought you were going to finish that sentence. I was going to argue with you a lot.
But I mean, I would say Firestorm and Manhunter Android, like, their mission on the, like, is just completely nonsense from the beginning.
But at least, like, their mission is nonsense from the beginning. They don't get to, like, come do the thing that they were supposed to do and then just not do it, Like,
That's true. Like, Power Girl makes the choice not to save them.
to not do the thing the entire issue was supposed to be set up for them to do.
At least Sir Green Lantern tried to cut the yellow crystal with his Green Lantern powers.
Mm-hmm.
But Power Girl's like, no, I don't even want to try.
Which I was trying to figure out whether Kyle's ring is actually, like, affected by the yellow weakness, and I don't think it is, but this guy would be from the past, I guess.
With Parallax dead, would that still be a weakness for the Green Lanterns?
So, like...
Is it always just light spectrumness stuff?
It shouldn't... Okay, so this doesn't matter at all because it's not continuity at the time, but, like, technically, I think Parallax still would have been inside Hal Jordan at this point, who is the Spectre, as you saw in issue 1.
Yes.
So I think Kyle's ring would not be affected by the weakness, but it kind of it almost makes sense for the Knights to still be because he's from olden days. Yeah.
The real question is, does Kyle Rayner think that his make-believe knight would have that weakness?
Would be affected by the weakness.
If he does, then he does. Yeah, okay.
Apparently he does, yeah.
There you go.
There's some stuff wrapped up in that, huh?
Oof.
But yeah, that issue's whatever overall.
It happened. Things were done.
Yeah.
I did like the whole thing about Power Girl saying your power isn't derived from some star, it comes from within. That was a nice little scene after being attacked by a tentacle monster, or maybe before. I don't remember.
It's fine, right? Like,
there was an attempt. But then what's after that? Issue 4 is...
Next one is the one that 2/3 of us think might be our favorite issue.
Wait, does Power Girl have something reason why she's claustrophobic? She said something about not liking like tight spaces or something.
I think it's supposed to be an Atlantis joke.
Okay.
Of like, haha, trapped in Atlantis.
Constantly being in tight clothes. Maybe that's her problem.
Could be that. That's what the boob window's secret origin actually is.
Yeah, so she doesn't feel claustrophobic.
So she's not claustrophobic.
So her boobs don't feel claustrophobic. Great.
Oh boy.
We got there.
So Green Lightning, Adam Strange.
I love Green Lightning. She's like probably my favorite character in this
Green
series.
Lightning's cool. And like it also just like gives Kyle a world where his and Wally West's kids got married, which is just like terrible for Kyle, right? Like, hey, your best friend who annoys you all the time, yeah, your kids got married in the future. You're the same family now.
She could be really like one note and it was just like, oh, like a what if we get the lanterns and the speedsters together. But like she impresses Adam Strange by getting to the Zeta beam thing so quickly, and then she has like a real connection with him because of their, two worlds, one world kind of decision, like defining who they are. And she comes off a lot better of a character than she could have, I think.
Can we talk about how nonsense it is that a teleportation beam can send you to Mexico but not New Zealand?
Well, isn't it like generating from Mexico but not New Zealand? Or I don't know. I don't understand Adam Strange at all. But he was saying like there's a beam in Mexico now, and there will be in New Zealand 3 months.
I think he was
now.
saying that the Justice League like tube thing could only get them to Mexico.
Yeah, which makes no sense to me. Like the Zeta beam is coming to New Zealand, and for some reason the Justice League teleporter can only send them to Mexico.
Well, it's not a teleporter; it's a tube, right?
Yeah, there's a landing station on page 114.
There needs to be a teleporting pad at the origin and at the.
Definitely a teleporter, though.
Hey man, Star Trek rules. Sometimes you need to have,
It's a good setup to let Green Lightning do her thing, but it doesn't make any sense to me. Why would the Justice League not be able to get to one side of the Earth for some reason?
No one wants to go to New Zealand.
Hey, that's rude. I've been there and it was great.
No, it seems like a lovely country.
She runs on water for a while. It's great.
It's a really good setup.
It is. I enjoy it.
Like you get to coming from the Atom issue, which is rough, and then the Power Girl issue, which is fine. Like when I got to the first page of this Adam Strange issue and I was like actually blown away by the art, like I was like, oh, this is really cool. I was like, all right, good. I'm in for this. I'm in for like one good issue of really good art.
Can we just say, like, I agree with his wife. It's a little douchey that he's never learned her.
That's such a good gag. Honestly, like, the fact that Brian K. Vaughan gets the Atom issue and this issue, I think shows that he's really interested in those two heroes and their deals overall. And I think he does the best work with Adam Strange throughout the whole bit. Because, yeah, he doesn't know the language, which, like, of course he doesn't. He's a terrible Earthman. But, like, it's such a good gag.
Like, there should be an expectation that if you're claiming to be an inhabitant of this world,
Right?
then
If you're married to a woman and have a child with her, maybe learn her language.
You're not wrong. Especially if you have a child, right? If it's, like, the child's first language, you should probably be able to communicate with your child.
Right? Yeah, especially because you're not going to see him very often because you keep getting randomly. It's random, right? He can't control when he gets zapped away.
He can't. So it's weird, right? Because, like, he obviously knows that eventually he'll disappear, but I'm not sure. I think he has, like, the schedule of when and where the Zeta rays come to.
Okay, because, like, in the first issue, he's, like, zapped away when Oblivion shows up. It's like, no, Chris, you... gamma radiation or whatever it is.
And also, like, a Green Lantern could just fly him there. He doesn't have to get sent by Zeta Ray, right?
It's his one thing. Let him have his one thing.
It seemed like really far away because they said like hundreds of trillions of miles or something like that, right? So
yeah, no, it is super far, I think, to kind of justify the whole we can't just fly there bit. Although, again, the Green Lantern ring can literally do anything in this comic, so... I'm trying to think whether we were insensitive to bilingual households when we were talking about the language stuff too, because now I'm thinking back and I'm like, I'm sure there are tons of people that are actually in that exact situation where they don't speak the primary language as their child.
I understand, but like I'm sure they would make an effort to do so, right? Like from all indications.
Also, he could. Like his literal job is just like wearing a jetpack and tooling around. He could find the time, right?
Right, like he's taking the lazy way out where he has a translator do it for him. He could make the effort. He has chosen not to, and I'm with his wife. That is a dick thing to do.
No, I agree. I just wanted to make sure we weren't being insensitive somehow at the same time, because I was thinking about it. It's like, well, I'm sure that's some people's real situation, and there are legitimate reasons why. For Adam Strange, though, no, he should figure it out.
Pick up Duolingo. Come on, Adam.
Yeah, donde está la biblioteca?
Yeah, it's great.
Where is the nearest cat dragon?
Oh my god, that cat dragon is so cool.
He knows where they are. He put them there.
He put them there, which is kind of douchey too, a little bit.
They got that cool like waterfall. They're doing fine. That thing is huge though. Can we just like that thing is massive?
Yes. Yeah, there's a good use of full page spreads in this, like when Ron is kind of like gone crazy and it's a double page spread, and when the cat dragon shows up and the cat dragon is the majority of the page, and Adam Strange and Green Lightning are just tiny little black specks.
That reminded me of Saga for whatever reason, like that.
I think it makes sense that Brian K. Vaughan likes Adam Strange as much as he seems to, because like Adam Strange is very like he's super sci-fi adjacent in a way that you can see kind of come through in stuff like Saga later in BKV's other stuff. Like
he's got Lion Cat's colors. Like that is Lion Cat as a dragon.
The cat dragon?
Yeah. It's great.
I mean, yeah, like I was saying, it makes sense to me that the Brian K. Vaughan issues that aren't focused on Kyle are the Atom and Adam Strange. Like I wouldn't have batted an eye if the Firestorm one was him too, I guess. But
sure. Yeah. Oh, Green Lightning. You shouldn't have disappeared. I'm so sorry.
Does it make it rougher for you that she's the one that like wanted to not disappear for a second?
Yes. Yes. She begged for her life at the end and they still wouldn't let her have it.
It's like a David Tennant Doctor Who moment too.
I don't want to go.
It was I don't want to go. Although then she was like, I'm fine, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, then a couple pages, you know what? No, it's fine.
It's not even a page. It's like literally the next panel.
It is. It makes no sense. It's like, oh, wait, no, I'm just Kyle's. I don't remember which emotion she was. Joy? I don't know.
Hope for the future.
For the future? Hope? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, why not?
Can we talk about how the clue in this one, like the way they unravel it makes no sense? Like what they think it means is nothing.
Well, they think it's one of them because it's a power battery or it's a lantern shaped.
Yes, they think it's a Green Lantern doing the thing, which kind of makes sense, right? Because it is a Green Lantern doing the thing, but they think it's one of the ones that's not Kyle.
Well, according to them, it's one of like there's only so many lanterns in existence. So.
But like Ron went crazy before any of those lanterns showed up.
Yeah.
Adam Strange even says like Kyle is the only one with a ring.
But then Green Lantern's like, no, wait, I have a ring. It could be me.
It could be me, except I wasn't here when it started happening.
I don't really understand what she does to fix it, other than she runs real fast and lets her lantern or her ring glow, which, good for her.
She like runs fast enough to see it and then uses the ring to counteract it, I think is what's going on.
Okay.
Which those panels are kind of confusing, although I do really like the one where she's using her ring.
Yeah. It's the payoff of the like, I can do it.
I can do both. I can run fast and use a ring.
I can learn a language and wear a jetpack.
Multitasking.
Turns out we can be multifaceted people. I do really like this story. I think this probably is my favorite issue in that like the story itself is cool in the same way.
It has
like
a conclusion,
about.
Which is
it has a start and a stop, and there's an arc to it.
Yeah. Then they get a call from Kyle. It's like, hey, could you come here? I found a thing.
Well, it actually moves too, right? Like I do like the Kyle issue, but the Kyle issue, everything that happens that's not him and Alex talking, I couldn't tell you anything about it except there was a bomb, I think.
Yeah, it's all That's part of my problem with that issue. Is it's just like they could have just stood there and talked and not done anything. It would have been the same thing.
Yeah, and it would have been the exact same comic basically. Whereas this one, the action actually matters and looks cool, and there's some substance to it.
They saved Adam's racist wife, which is great.
She's not racist. He just can't be bothered to learn.
She was a little bit like he was an off-world. Okay, whatever. They got over it. It's fine.
She's being driven crazy by cartoon seizures.
by a light spectrum. It's great. Green Lightning. Bring her back.
All right, now we got to talk about this Firestorm GL issue quick.
So Firestorm, I only know from that TV show, and even then, I wasn't really sure what was going on.
Are you talking about Legends of Tomorrow?
Probably. That's the one you had me watch. So is it that?
Yes. Yeah, okay. We did watch a couple episodes of that, didn't we?
Yeah.
That might have been a bad choice, huh?
I didn't quite enjoy it, but it taught me who Firestorm was. And then in this, I find out his professor went away, which is sad.
And became a Satan fire demon.
Which they just so happened to go to the one planet that he's been terrorizing.
Dude, this issue is just full of, hey, it's a coincidence though, isn't it, huh?
Before we get too far, I laughed my ass off when Firestorm is starting this issue explaining his backstory. Yes. And the Manhunter Ander's like, and why are you telling me this? I had to put the comic down because I was laughing so hard.
Like, I don't know, I thought we talk, or we're going like trillions of miles.
I actually did not have that reaction, but I love that you did.
Why are you telling me this? Like, oh fuck.
Man, that robot's so Spockian, huh?
It's great. He's just
and monotony is a bad thing.
Gut feeling hardly seems logical. Great. It's great. So yeah, they just randomly fly to this one planet because they think this superpower weapon thing
could be there, I guess. How much of the universe do you think they've covered at this point?
No, they flew exactly here.
Apparently, by the time they show up in issue 7, they've seen the entire universe, is what Firestorm says. We couldn't find it anywhere, says Firestorm.
We've looked nowhere. We can't find it.
Like, all it needs is Oracle when they're like asking her information or whatever, or like, the computer on the JLA headquarters, like, to say, hey, there's something similar that we've heard about in this sector, and then all I have to do is like go there, and it would make some sense. Like, there's like at least a rumor that there's a weapon that
no. They're following Firestorm's gut feelings to this planet.
How absurd is it that like Firestorm doesn't know he's being played this entire issue?
Like, yeah, oh god. Let's get to those aliens. Like, it's like, oh, okay, aliens in a flying saucer. Sure, they're purple.
I was actually
cool.
Okay, I kind of like this art. The coloring is cool. Firestorm's hair is actually baller. Like, actually looks really cool.
I agree. The colors in this are like fantastic, and I was really like, after issue 2, I was really enjoying this. And then they meet the alien captain.
It's like you see the first page of the aliens, and all of the female aliens have no sleeves and no tops to their shirts, and you're like, okay, it's kind of bad, but it's not egregious.
In the background.
And then you turn the page, and it's just
Ba-bam!
It's just boobs.
It's definitely like what a man thinks boobs look like on a woman.
It's like if you drew a reptilian alien and then you're like, oh, hey, but it needs boobs.
It's E.T. It's purple E.T. with boobs. It's unnecessary.
It doesn't fit the design at all, even. They are somehow bigger than Power Girl's boobs. Which is like not a place you want your art to be.
Like, I mean, this whole issue is very male gazy. Like the whole thing. But this was sort of the tipping point.
Oh my gosh. I'm flipping through it again. I got to the page where Firestorm just makes a giant fan, and I still don't understand.
For solar flares, which aren't like fire,
Yes.
really. They're like radiation.
Radiation, but I got a fan.
You know what? I was so focused on like how he makes a fan, I didn't even think about the fact that it wouldn't even work though.
This will snuff the flares out.
Oh my god. Firestorm, what even are your powers and why are you so bad? I waffle between really liking Firestorm and just like really not wanting to see him in a comic ever again, honestly. For this exact reason.
Don't worry, his physicist friend, elemental dude, shows up. Which, are we supposed to think that his gut feeling was just drawing him to the professor the whole time?
I honestly just think it's a giant coincidence that has no explanation. That is terrible.
I'll go with that.
The hand wave could be that it was, he was subconsciously
sort of connection.
going towards...
I'll give it to you. I'll give you the no prize for it.
I don't want that prize. And then Manhunter is like, oh, I'll fake attacking Firestorm and that'll break him out because I know human/elemental emotions. I'm a robot. But it works, so good for him. Logic wins the day.
If you ever needed something to shake up a superhero comic, a flying fiery elemental being will do it. Whether it's Dark Phoenix or this or, like... Just like, we'll throw one of those in there. That'll be fun.
It is a super cool visual. I'll give them that.
It looks real pretty. Like that fire looks real nice on both Firestorm and whatever the
Fire guy
is. Yeah.
I honestly I've seen him in comics as he was like this a few times. I have no idea what his name is in that form. No clue.
Fiery.
I think it might
physicist.
It might also just be Firestorm.
That's just lazy. Firestein, yes.
It seems better, honestly, Simon.
What sort of monster have I become? And he goes and he asks for forgiveness. And they're like, yeah, no problem. Also, we lied to you. We don't have this thing. That's also a really dumb name for a thing. Why do you think we would have that thing?
Right. Why do we speak English without a translator?
I still contend it's not the most pointless issue because at least they were trying to do the thing they were trying to do.
That is true. Like they were searching for a thing. Well, I don't know. Like the only benefit they got is randomly running into the other half of Firestorm, who then doesn't join them. So, but he gets a hug.
It seems like a perfect setup for something to happen in that situation.
It's like, oh, we could have full powered Firestorm. That'll be nope. Never mind. He's
and
staying
instead,
there.
nothing happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a guy trying to blow up the entire universe. Oh, he hasn't blown up the universe yet. Oh, I'm gonna go and explore the rest of it.
I'm gonna fix this planet that I turned on fire by being on fire some more. All right, we good on that one?
Yep, we're great.
All right, Green Lantern, in which fridging was discussed.
The frigging.
I actually do like the choice to show it in this one where Kyle's thinking about it. Where is it this one or is it the next one?
No, it's the next one where you see her hand out of it. Yeah.
No, there was one. It might have been in the first. If it's not in this one, it might have been in the first bookend because I don't think it's in the.
Evil Kyle taunts him by showing it to him.
There's two panels of Kyle having a thought. Then there's a quick obscured panel of just Alex's hand sticking out of the fridge, and then it goes back to him thinking about stuff.
John Stewart asks him about the photo.
Yes, it's in the first one. Then okay, yeah. I liked that handling.
It flashes to it. Yeah. But don't worry. They show you more.
See, I don't need to be shown more, which is why I like the first handling of it. The second one where her blood is just all over the refrigerator in the second bookend, I'm just like.
But it was made to taunt him. It was.
Yes, it's supposed to be. Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. It's weird to discuss the frigging because I think Kyle deals with it in ways that do actually progress his character, and this story is a good example of that. But I do at the same time see this is a character who was created solely to give
To be
Kyle motivation.
A motivator, yeah. My fiance died. I become superhero. I don't know. I like they flip it sort of because the same thing happened to her and she becomes a superhero. I do like the fact that like it's just destined that one of those two will end in a refrigerator. Like that's
Kyle is not immune to getting fridged.
Yeah.
And like, say what you will about how it's handled, like it's a powerful visual too. Like even I'm looking at the page in Green Lantern where it's Kyle and Alex, and then Kyle's turning away from the fridge, and then it's Alex and Ganthet, and then Alex is turning away from the fridge. Like, I don't know, it hits home. I definitely understand the criticisms of it as a thing, especially as a trope that comes up all the time too.
Yes, no, agreed. It can be ham-fisted. I was going to make a freezer burn joke, but I didn't. But it was handled better in this one.
So on a completely different note, I think this is writer Judd Winnick's first Green Lantern comic before he like takes over the series 3 years after this comic.
That's cool. Have you read any of his stuff?
Probably not. Well,
okay.
Hang on. Cool. Thinking about it. Have you ever read the Batman bit where Jason Todd comes back as the Red Hood?
No, sir.
No, probably not then. I'm trying to think if there's anything
I'm
else
sure he does a great job
in front of you. I don't.
Is there a lot of dialogue of people standing around? Because he does a great job.
He is definitely a guy who likes his captions, and that, like, is this actually the only issue that has captions? It might be.
Yeah, I think there's like one or two that says like just a change of location or change of time, but not
not like
narration.
Yeah, not like this. Yeah, that's definitely a Judd Winnick tick. Like, he is a narration captions guy. So, like, even just upon reading, I might have been able to guess, just even based upon reading the captions, that it was a Judd Winnick book if I hadn't noticed beforehand.
Mm.
But yeah, so they're called away. Like, they're searching for Oblivion, which is basically just an excuse for them to talk about how weird it is that each of them is alive/dead.
Mm-hmm. And they find a signal that they think is him or is similar to him.
But it's just a weird little bomb.
That kills / there's a trying to kill / slow them down. Oh, they discuss what their alternate universes are like by pop
the music
references.
Yes.
Yes. He mentions boy bands and rap rock, and she mentions Latino white boy rap. It's like white guys
rapping in Spanish. Yes.
What do you guys think about Alex's Green Lantern costume?
I mean, there's not much to it.
That's kind of what I was thinking too, right? Is like, it's sort of just a green jumpsuit, especially in this issue. Like, it's kind of offset as green and black in the other two issues, and in this one it's just like
green on green.
Green on green, yeah.
Especially when Kyle's has like the splash of white on his, and hers doesn't have anything contrast that. So
yeah, there's not much to it. I'm getting a little Poison Ivy read from it.
Yeah, a little bit, right?
Especially with the red hair,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels like it might be the laziest design of all the designs.
I would agree. Of all the Green Lanterns, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Green Lightning is pretty simplistic too. But
I mean, like, Green Lightning, you don't have to do too much. You just got to put some lightnings on there and you've done speedster stuff, right?
It's true, yeah.
She's got green lipstick. And it's the future, so she shaves her head.
That's right.
I'm trying to nail down like what exactly is bugging me about it, and I think like comparing it to Kyle's like very overly designed suit is probably it. Like, he's got all that stuff and she's got literally a green bodysuit.
Did you leave your other pieces at home? Do you want to?
Do you leave them in the alternate universe you're supposedly from?
Oh no! You only had time to put on the base like undergarment. Oh no!
Is there a jacket? There's probably a leather jacket.
Yeah, at least.
All the Green Lanterns had leather jackets, right?
In her universe. I just came to the bit where she's talking about the people on the internet being a nightmare, and boy, howdy are they.
Hey man, Hal Jordan, real cool.
Kyle Rayner, like, this was 19 years ago. She doesn't even know.
Well, maybe that's supposed to show their differences, because, like, you know, maybe his suit is very Kyle Rayner, but she
over-designed.
Yeah, she's a little more sleek, a little more simplistic in her taste.
That's probably what they were going for.
Let's be charitable and say that, yeah. What do you guys think about the art in this one overall? I don't have a ton to say about it, I think.
It was fine. It wasn't as bad as issue 2, I think it was. But there's nothing that like
big blocks of color. That's basically what I got from it.
It is very green, which I mean, what are you gonna do? But
But like, there's not much like. It's the two characters, and then there's some like. There's not much other detail in anything.
yeah, there's so many pages as I'm flipping through it that are just them, like they're in space or they're in a cave or
generic
like,
cave, generic space. Oh, weird, simplistic looking bugs for a second. Oh, back to generic cave. Oh, some like desert background.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
even in the wide shot at the mouth of the cave, that they could have had more texture in the background. It's just like out of focus and bland.
yeah, it's basically drawing two people all the time.
Yeah, it's an issue of two characters talking, so like
Yeah.
are the focus of it. I understand, but yeah, it's pretty bland. I don't know. It's a good development for Kyle issue. Does it make it any less the fact that she's imaginary?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Like he's still just working through his stuff, which is sort of the point of it as a person who's reading this for Kyle Rayner and not his alternate universe girlfriend who's actually a manifestation of his subconscious.
Like even if someone told you it was fake, if you think of his position of finding someone that you thought you'd never see again and had such a traumatic end, that like even having a simulacrum of that back, like having some semblance of that person that you used to love, it's got to be heart-wrenching to just be and try to talk about it without directly talking about it.
Yeah, no, I can see that. It's sort of like self-therapy in a way.
Oh no, guys! The website that I'm using to totally legally read this website or read this comic is now asking me if I'm human. It won't let me go to the last issue.
Don't answer.
I'm not clicking anything on this website. It's okay. I think I can talk about the last issue without it because we kind of already covered it, honestly. But like,
yeah, basically, at the end of each of those issues, Kyle calls everyone and says, "Oh, we found him. He's on Oa." Is it Oa or is it OA?
Yeah, it's I like Oa.
I like Oa as well.
Okay, cool. So he tells everyone, "Oh, he's Oblivion. He's at the remains of Oa. Come help us." And they all show up. And there's a big confrontation. And then he realized, and then doesn't Oblivion just tell him right away?
No, there are other fake outs and stuff too. And there's also like Oblivion kills one of the Teen Lanterns and you're supposed to feel bad.
The brother.
Mm-hmm.
But then by then I think you've already figured it out and like it makes. So here's an argument that I have with my wife sometimes is whether Kyle Rayner is dumb or not. So there's like a 4-issue arc of Hitman, which is like a 1990s comic where because Garth Ennis doesn't like superheroes, and I think he's particularly doesn't like Kyle for some reason, like Kyle's dumb as a rock in it. He's just like the stupidest superhero you've ever seen, basically. And that's Kat, my wife, drink if you play the drinking game with this podcast. That's like her only encounter with Kyle for such a long time that's what she thought he was like. And I was like, no, he's not like that. Like this is actually just like really stretching his character to be completely stupid because that's what the story needs to be. But he's kind of dumb in this though because he doesn't figure it out. Like his dad shows up and he's like, Dad, how did you get my Green Lantern ring? It's just like, what?
I knew it was you with this intergalactic plan. I always knew you were evil. It's like, what?
Which is like about on par with the Scarecrow fake out, right? Like, it makes
the dude left
sense.
your mom. Yeah, that's a dick move, but come on.
So yeah, I don't know. It like Kyle's super dumb in this, and I don't like when Kyle's super dumb. I wish Batman had gone with so he could solve this mystery.
He knew it right away.
I think he did. But yeah, I don't know. Like Oblivion looks cool in this one. This is what Robert Teranishi. Oh geez, I'm sure I mispronounced that on pencils. But like I think a lot of the cool stuff in this issue is on the inks and colors.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think I wrote the inker down for this one.
Claude St. Ruben.
Yeah, Claude St. Ruben, and then Shannon Blanchard. Because like I actually really like on the pages with the Quasar that is falling apart for some reason because the B-listers need something to do. Like the colors on that page are pretty cool too. Oh yeah, and this is where I have my note written about Oblivion's design being my favorite thing about the book overall.
Your chaos is my feast. Just the wide shot of them on a shard of OL. He's towering over them.
It's a good Kyle comic, but it's not a great everyone else comic, and it has to be both. Is kind of where I fall apart in this one. Like I really I at least kind of enjoy the panel where Kyle's like, "Hey, I can just shoot myself and this will be over." Like that's at least like a semi-good page turn cliffhanger. Although he's obviously not going to do that because this is
Right.
a comic with his name on the cover.
It's nice that he offered, though.
Right. But like that stuff kind of holds up to me right until you get to the part where the Justice League that Kyle's been on for the last 5 years is finally like, "Oh, hey, you're one of us now." When I think he just like saved the entire universe probably 2 months before that.
I don't know. Like, yeah. I'm going to be honest. I got a little lost in this one. Like when everything's
I think
going
that
down.
makes sense because it starts kind of flipping back and forth between the two storylines from like page to page. And that's sort of when I started feeling a little lost also. And I think the art starts to get a little bit looser by like page 14 or something. Like I'm not sure they told the artist it was like a 40-page book when he signed on.
Like, oh God. Deadlines. Yeah, they're jumping in between like this mental landscape and like what's happening in space, and then they fly back to Earth. And yeah, it's a little much.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he makes a deal with his negative emotions, which have all coalesced into a dude that looks like him. Which...
Yeah, the dude who looks like Tom Cruise from that Scientology video.
Yes, it does.
Talk about how Kyle's wearing like a white turtleneck and slacks or sweatpants or something. Just like
good Kyle.
And then when they're standing across from each other and one's all white and one's all black, it's just like how just hammer meathead, you know?
Good Kyle, bad Kyle. Oh man, at least he didn't have a goatee. You know, could have been worse.
Could have been worse, yeah. It's a bit much, I think is exactly right, Pat.
I was really digging the whole different lanterns and like the fact that it all doesn't mean anything in the end.
Yes, the fact that
really
it's just
turned me off.
The fact that it's just a very personal Kyle Rayner story, which could be good, but is not what you signed up for.
Yeah, they lied to me. They lied to me. And then they had my favorite character beg for her life, and then they took it
from her anyways. I think if I had read this as a kid, like expecting it to be like all the Green Lantern Corps is coming back, and had happened, I probably would have been disappointed. Because that's definitely what I thought was happening when I saw the cover for this as a kid.
I just remember liking it for the different lanterns and the villain, and I didn't remember how it ended when I picked it originally. So, yeah, the ending is like the least important part, which it shouldn't be, but like least favorite part, I should say, I guess.
Sure.
And it's a very much like, what do we have the rest of these people do while Kyle talks to himself?
Yes.
Which is again like why I wonder how this story came together in this exact way, where it's a good Kyle Rayner story that has 4 other heroes stapled into it, sort of for him to learn a lesson and for them to learn lessons about themselves. But like, why those 4 heroes, and like, did anything come of that afterwards? I don't think so. I think there are like 2 issues of Impulse where Adam Strange is mad, and that's what happened as a result of this series.
Like, if it was just Kyle and then each of them was just Kyle in a different lantern each time, I think that would work better. Trying to get that to work with the story, I don't know how.
No, that would have been tough. But yeah, no, I see what you're saying of like keeping it focused as a Kyle story.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of what we both hit on, is maybe that would have worked better.
I'm just reading Adam's last line to Green Lightning, and it's making me so angry. I won't forget what you did for my people ever. Now go, run for that finish line. Fuck you, Adam. Fuck you. Yeah, so he makes a deal that he'll accept Oblivion. Is that what it is? Is that the agreement that he
It just kind of like, yeah, just keeps repressing him until it comes up again. I think the
sort of the deal
is that like he's gonna learn to maintain it.
Yeah, like he's gonna like actually deal with his stuff as opposed to unhealthily like sending his emotions out into the cosmos where they gain sentience, which is kind of what we all have to do, which is what Superman was trying to say, and I think what Batman was trying to say in his weird asshole way.
Yeah.
So all the cool people you met are now just constructs in his mind, keeping his bad thoughts at bay. Cool. I do like that Adam Strange is the only one who's like, no, Kyle, you fucked up a whole swath of the universe. You don't just get to like.
I mean, Kyle was kind of like that too, to be fair.
That's why he was going to resign from the JLA.
The fact that the JLA is just fine. It's like, no, it's okay. You fucked up. We all fucked up. That's like how you get in here.
Okay, to be fair, Pat, they have all fucked up though.
Sure, but still, like no repercussions. Like Ron got messed up. Things were probably said that can't be taken back.
Things were said that can't be taken back. Adam Strange has to live with his wife now, knowing that she called him like a dunce of an alien.
Yeah, I don't know. At the end, it was an interesting story, at least. It took you on a journey. You saw some things.
It was like, I wonder, and this is kind of why I'm curious, like, what your overall feelings of it are now, Simon. But like, I feel like I've read most of these things have happened with these characters in other stories, but better. But like, I also didn't read this story as like one of my first comics, so I don't have those feelings attached to it. So
right. Yeah, I think if I didn't have those nostalgia factors, it wouldn't be as nearly enjoyable as it was this time around. But I don't know if I could ever uncouple that. Like, I haven't experienced it without that feeling. So I definitely see the criticisms in it, that like the critical review of it, now that I didn't as a kid, that I wasn't looking for story or other things to compare it to, you know. But like I said at the beginning, like if I compare it to for what it is, I still enjoy it, but I it's not like it's fine art or anything.
Sure. Like I was saying to Matt beforehand, it's a comic of its time.
yeah, it definitely is a 2000s era superhero comic, and like, it's not a bad one.
No, there are certainly worse.
So Simon, you said you had some potential recommendations for people based on this, right?
The main one I was thinking of is Blackest Night, which is a Green Lantern run that incorporates different color spectrum Green Lanterns, all with a main aspect of where they draw their power from. So obviously Green Lantern is will, and then Yellow Lanterns are fear, and so on and so on. And so I've read a little bit of those too, because I really like Green Lantern. And that one was a little harder to follow because it went through other
Lantern
heroes
Corps
books too. Yeah, like there was a Lantern Corps book, and then there was like Green Lantern, and then there was like random.
It touches all of like Batman. Yeah.
I was gonna say, if you like the fact that there are multiple Green Lanterns in this, you will like that book, because there are not only multiple Green Lanterns, there are multiple colors of lanterns.
It's honestly some of my favorite DC though. Like I would say start even all the way back to like the Sinestro Corps Wars.
I would send you all the way back to Rebirth, actually.
Yeah,
'cause
no,
there are, like,
that's a good point.
Direct ties in this to like Hal Jordan is the Spectre in this nonsense comic, and like that is a direct, like, it's a story point that is addressed in Green Lantern Rebirth. It's a very big part of how Hal's Emerald Advancement team actually kind of wins their battle, sort of. Except we all get what we want, which is like the best comics, when comics can be like, oh yeah, you want that and you want that, it's all here. We got it all.
You want an elephant wielding a ring? We got it. It's there. Yep. You want a cat? You want a cat wielding a ring? We got that too.
Pat, can I tell you that cat is back in comics, and it was great as of like last week.
The Rage Cat is the best.
It's an episode of, or in an issue that's like launching a new Jimmy Olsen title, and it's just like vomiting blood in Jimmy Olsen's bathroom.
I love that cat so much. But yeah, it's a trip, and I definitely read everything from Rebirth all the way through the beginning of Blackest Night, and it's good comic. So yeah, I would throw in with both of you and say yes, read that.
Yeah. And I think I would send you to the Grant Morrison JLA stuff, and probably Tower of Babel too, if you like the mystery aspect / like the neat tricks of like what you can do with the Green Lantern ring and stuff in here. Like, turns out Batman's got lots of neat plans for taking down Justice Leaguers in Tower of Babel, and making Kyle blind is only one of them. So like, if you like those sorts of like neat gimmicks, that's a cool comic. And like Kyle's arc to me is actually maybe stronger in JLA than anywhere else that I've seen it personally, although I haven't read a lot of his Green Lantern comics. But like, from issue 1 of JLA to issue like 60 or whatever the last Morrison issue is, like, Kyle grows throughout it in a way you probably wouldn't expect in a book that's not his.
Sure.
So if you like that stuff that's in here, I think I'd send you to Morrison JLA too.
Cool.
All right, I think that's going to do it for this month's discussion of Green Lantern Circle of Fire. As always, if you want to get in touch with Pat or myself, you can find us on Twitter as @thehypnotoad, which you could Google it and maybe it'll come up.
You know what? It's fine. It's fine.
It's spelled in what the kids call leet speak.
Don't out me like that. I feel attacked.
And I'm Matt Ledge, which is MAT_LEDGE, which is not any
an
less
underscore.
actually.
Really? Come on.
Oh, what is this? The 2000s? You can also email us at waitingonthetrade@gmail.com, and you can read more comics-related goodness at mattreadscomics.com. Simon, assuming you want to be found online, where can people find you?
I had to look up my Twitter because I don't use it very often. But
Hey, me too. Don't
I was going to say, Simon, I see you like once every 3 months, I think. And I'm like...
I think you post more magic stuff than I do, so it's fine.
Yeah, no, my Twitter handle is @Mogis_disciple. So MOGIS_DISCIPLE.
Oh, an underscore. We don't use those in our Twitter handles on here.
So confusing, you guys. Underscores? Really? Oh.
It's mostly magic and comedy stuff. I made it to follow like magic celebrities, and that's why it has a Magic the Gathering related name. But yeah, if people want to talk about comics or other nerdy things, they're free to tweet me there.
Sweet. Well, thank you for joining us, Simon.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
This is great.
Next month, we're going to talk to our good friend John O'Gurney about Die from Kieran Gillen's Stephanie Hans. And I think that actually might be it on that comic. I think it might just be Kieran and Stephanie. So we'll see you back here for that next month.